It's a huge Thursday for Eagles fans, and there's a lot to unpack as we get closer to this pivotal rematch against the New York Giants. The injury front is already causing some serious buzz, especially when it comes to star wide receiver A.J. Brown. For the second straight day, Brown did not participate in practice, raising real concern about his availability for Sunday. Now, early reports still suggest there's optimism he'll suit up, but here's the thing. Only one Eagles player all season has missed both Wednesday and Thursday practices and still ended up playing. And that was quarterback Tanner McKee, who at the time wasn't even the backup, just the emergency option in Week 2. So, history tells us, if you miss both midweek practices, the odds of you playing drop significantly. Add to that the context. The Eagles have a bye week after this matchup. That's a perfect opportunity to give A.J. Brown some extra time to fully recover without pushing him into action this weekend. And let's not forget his injury history. The hamstring has been a recurring issue going back to last season and even into this year's training camp. He missed over 3 weeks in camp because of it, and it never really went away. That kind of soft tissue injury, especially for a high-impact athlete like A.J., is tricky. He's explosive, he's powerful, and he's vital to this offense. You risk aggravating it further, and suddenly you're staring at 3 or 4 games without him, not just one. The Eagles are going to be smart about this. Brown has missed games before because of similar issues, and the coaching staff knows how important it is to have him fully healthy down the stretch, especially when playoff positioning is on the line. And let's not underestimate what's coming after the bye. A crucial matchup with the Packers, another team eyeing the #1 seed in the NFC. That could decide a lot about who gets home field advantage in January. Now, if A.J. can't go, that definitely reshuffles the deck. Devonta Smith becomes the de facto #1 target. And to his credit, he's been quietly having a fantastic season. Already over 500 yards receiving, making tough catches in big moments, and stepping up when needed. But behind him, that's where things get murky. Janarius Dotson steps up into the WR2 role, but the depth after that gets questionable. That's likely why the Eagles open the practice window for Darius Cooper. He's coming off a shoulder injury, but is now eligible to return. And if they need more help, someone like Britton Covey might get elevated from the practice squad. Still, the numbers don't lie. The Eagles without A.J. Brown just aren't the same offense. Since he joined the team in 2022, whenever he hasn't played, their points per game take a nosedive. Their yards per game drop. They've struggled to find rhythm. And yes, they've lost some very important games when he's been out, including last season's wild card matchup and a key game against the Buccaneers. Simply put, his absence is felt. But this isn't just about A.J. Brown. Center Cam Jurgens is also battling injury and didn't practice. In his absence, Brett Toth has been taking first-team reps. Now here's the dilemma. Toth has had some issues holding the point of attack in the past. He's been pushed around at both center and guard, and snapping consistency has been a concern. Meanwhile, Drew Kendall, a rookie with solid college credentials, more than 30 career starts, a team captain at Boston College, NFL bloodlines, could be a more stable option. He showed some real promise during training camp and preseason. He's agile, he anchors better than Toth, and might just give the Eagles a better shot at handling what is still a very physical Giants defensive line. Speaking of the Giants, they've got their own injury list piling up. A few key names didn't practice either. Cornerback Paulson Adebo with a knee issue, edge rusher Brian Burns nursing a hip, and defensive lineman DJ Davidson and Chauncey Galston both dealing with injuries. Safety Jevon Holland is also on the shelf. That's a chunk of their defensive core, and if any of those guys can't go, that weakens a unit that's already struggled with consistency this year. Now, even if A.J. Brown is out, the Eagles are still the more talented team. Better roster, better coaching staff, better quarterback. This is a game they should win. But here's the catch. They've already been burned by this Giants team once. That Thursday night disaster in Week 6? Total domination by New York. Turnovers, missed tackles, a lack of energy. The Eagles didn't look like they even wanted to be on the field. They were soft, they were passive, and they got punished for it. If they show up with that same mentality again, they could absolutely get swept in the season series, and that would be a disaster. Now, let's pivot to something positive. the offense finally showed signs of life against the Minnesota Vikings. Jalen Hurts absolutely carved up one of the top defenses in the NFL. That Vikings unit came into the game ranked second in pass defense, and Hurts lit them up. For completions for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns for A.J. Brown. Smith had a huge day as well. But more importantly, it wasn't just one good quarter. It was the most complete offensive performance of the season, a full 60 minutes of rhythm, balance, and explosiveness. So what changed? A subtle but crucial shift. Jalen Hurts spent more time under center. It may seem minor, but it completely altered the flow of the offense. When Hurts lines up under center, it opens up play action in a way that's simply not possible from shotgun. It helps the run game, it creates passing lanes, and it keeps the defense guessing. Through the first 6 weeks of the season, the Eagles had called only 5 play-action passes from under center. Against Minnesota, 4 in one game, all suggested by Hurts himself to the coaching staff. The result? For completions, 121 yards and a touchdown, including a 79-yard bomb to Devon Smith. It made the offense more unpredictable, more efficient, and far more dangerous. And it's not just about passing. Running backs like Saquon Barkley and most NFL backs, to be honest, prefer running from under center because they get better vision of the field. You're lined up deeper in the backfield, not stuck off to the side of the quarterback like in shotgun. You can see the play develop and pick your lane. And from a lineman's perspective, Jordan Mailata summed it up perfectly. He said when a quarterback is in shotgun, defenses often know exactly where the play is going. They crash the edge, attack the gap, and disrupt the timing. But under center, everything opens up. Both sides of the line have to be respected, and the angles become more favorable for the offensive line. It's small, it's subtle, but it matters, especially for a team that wants to regain its identity as a physical, smash-mouth offense. Even defensively, pass rushers sometimes prefer when quarterbacks drop back from shotgun. It's a straighter, more direct path to the target. With Hurts under center, the launch point changes, the timing changes, and the defense can't just pin their ears back. It's a little wrinkle, but one that could make a massive difference moving forward if they commit to it more consistently. Now, while the under center play action is great, let's not ignore the shotgun entirely. There are still plenty of effective ways to run the football from that look, and some analysts, like Eagles Eric, who does great film work, pointed out that the Eagles have had a lot of success with same side toss, counter, power, and duo runs from shotgun. These aren't being used nearly enough. They've been bread-and-butter concepts in past years, and they're highly effective if executed properly. So the blueprint is there. Mix in more under-center formations to keep defenses honest, but don't abandon the shotgun runs that have worked for you in the past. Just be smarter and more selective with how and when you use them. Looking ahead to this Sunday's rematch against the Giants, the biggest question hovering over the team is how the Eagles will adjust if A.J. Brown can't go. You're talking about a player who doesn't just put up numbers. He changes how defenses line up. When he's on the field, he draws double coverage, commands respect over the top, and opens up space for guys like Devon Smith, Dallas Goedert, and even the running backs in the passing game. Without him, the dynamic shifts. Defenses can key in more on Smith, stack the box more confidently against the run, and bring pressure without fearing a quick, game-breaking play over the top. This is where Nick Sirianni and offensive coordinator Brian Johnson really earn their stripes. With or without Brown, the game plan needs to be sharp. One of the keys will be making sure Hurts continues to build off what worked so well against Minnesota. The under-center looks were just part of the equation. It was also about tempo, formation diversity, and a renewed commitment to attacking the middle of the field. For much of the season, the Eagles' passing attack has been too reliant on the sidelines and deep shots. Against the Vikings, you saw slants, digs, crossers, routes that Hurts throws well and that can move the chains consistently. That's the style that can beat a defense like the Giants, especially if they're missing key starters. And then there's the ground game. Last year, this was the most feared rushing attack in the league. This season, not even close. They've struggled to establish any kind of rhythm on the ground, and that's been one of the biggest reasons the offense has fell off. Saquon Barkley was brought in with the idea that he'd add a new dimension to the run game, but so far, The production just hasn't been there. Some of that is on him, but a lot of it falls on the offensive line and the play calling. Too many runs have been predictable, called in obvious situations, or simply poorly blocked. When Cam Jurgens is healthy and pulling across the line, you can see flashes of what this run game could be. He moves well in space, he gets to the second level quickly, and that's when Saquon is at his most dangerous, when he can follow a lead blocker and use his vision to bounce outside or cut back. But now, with Jurgens banged up and likely out, the Eagles are back to square one, and they'll have to rely on guys like Toth or potentially Drew Kendall to step into that center role. That makes Sunday a huge test, not just for the offensive line, but for the coaching staff to scheme around those limitations. Quick hitting runs, jet sweeps, screens, anything to get the defense moving sideways and create lanes without needing a dominant performance from the interior. One thing that can't happen again is a repeat of that sloppy Week 6 performance. That game was everything the Eagles are not supposed to be. Turnovers, poor tackling, no energy, no discipline. They lost the turnover battle by a huge margin, couldn't get off the field on third down, and looked completely out of sync. It was one of those games where nothing went right, and the Giants took full advantage. That loss should still be fresh in the minds of every player in that locker room. This Sunday is not just about bouncing back. It's about proving that game was a fluke, not a trend. Defensively, there's pressure too. The Giants' offense hasn't exactly been lighting up the scoreboard, but they're scrappy, and they'll look to exploit any weaknesses. The Eagles need to come out with urgency on defense, especially on third down and in the red zone. There's been too much bending, and lately it's turned into breaking. This game offers a real chance to reassert dominance on that side of the ball. Get pressure early, force mistakes, and make a statement that this defense can still carry when needed. Back on the offensive side, another key will be how the Eagles rotate their personnel. If Brown is out, it'll be interesting to see if Darius Cooper is active and how much he plays. He brings a different skill set, not quite as physical as Brown, but with good hands and route-running ability. If he's ready to go, he might find himself in a significant role right away. Same goes for Quez Watkins or Britton Covey, who could be asked to step up in the slot or stretch the field with speed. This is where roster depth gets tested. Everyone talks about the top names, but it's the role players that can quietly win or lose games like this. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves across the NFL, whispers have been circulating that MEKHI BECTON, the towering offensive tackle whose presence has been sorely missed, is making a return, and the Philadelphia Eagles might be at the center of this stunning development. Sources close to the team suggest that negotiations have progressed quietly, with no official announcement yet, but the mere possibility of Becton lining up in midnight green has already ignited a frenzy among fans and pundits alike. Becton, known for his extraordinary size, agility, and the ability to dominate pass rushers, has been absent from the league for a period that left teams scrambling for stability on their offensive lines. Rumors began to swirl last week when insiders hinted at private meetings between Becton's camp and Eagles management, raising eyebrows in locker rooms and on social media. If the deal comes to fruition, it could represent one of the most audacious acquisitions of the season, signaling the Eagles' willingness to shake up the status quo and push aggressively for contention. The buzz is not just about Becton's talent, but about the timing. Philadelphia has struggled at times to protect its quarterback, and adding a player of Becton's caliber could dramatically shift the dynamics in the NFC East. Analysts are already speculating about the ripple effects. Would this move inspire other franchises to pursue bold trades? Could it reshape the Eagles' offensive strategies overnight? While nothing is confirmed, the city of Philadelphia seems to be bracing for impact, with fans flooding forums and sports bars with heated debate and anticipation. Of course, skeptics warn that injuries and contract negotiations could complicate matters. Becton's previous stints in the league were not without setbacks, and any team bringing him in must weigh both potential and risk. Yet, in the world of NFL rumors, hope often outweighs caution. For now, All eyes are on the Eagles, waiting to see if this whisper transforms into a headline that could define the season. One thing is clear. The mere suggestion of Mekhi Becton returning has already electrified a fanbase hungry for big moves and bold statements. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.